Hey there guys, Matthew here, and it's time! It's like Christmas here on the Who Addicts. It's the best, most wonderful time of the year / 2 years because we don't get Doctor Who every year now, but it's that time again where we get to record and bring to you guys the best possible and worst possible series of 2020. Yes, my baby, my creation. The series that I've been doing every single year, apart from 2016, where we basically put together our best and worst possible series of Doctor Who and combine every single episode. And this is where we basically where we construct the best possible modern series of Doctor Who, where if you don't know and if you've not seen the rules before, we basically go through all the episode 1s from series 1 to now series 12, pick our favourite episode 1, then we do all the episode 2s, pick our favourite, episode 3s, etc, etc, and then a special episode at the end, and we pick the best possible marathon that you can do going from series to series. It's my favourite thing, my greatest creation, and I'm so excited to bring it back for you guys here today. And I've gone old school with this. I've created a spreadsheet with all the series, all the episodes, and I've literally went through every single episode all over again, whereas normally I obviously go and base it off the previous series and then just see if I've changed it from the series before. I've went from scratch with this one, and we are going to literally reconstruct the best possible series from the bottom to the top. How many episodes from series 1 are going to be in there? How many episodes of series 12 are going to be in there? Let's find out. It's time for the best possible series 2020. Let's do it. So as always, let's start with episode 1. And we have to choose from Rose, New Earth, Smith and Jones, Partners in Crime, The 11th Hour, The Impossible Astronaut, Asylum of the Daleks, Deep Breath, The Magician's Apprentice, The Pilot, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and Spyfall Part 1. Now, series openers are a tough one, really, because they sort of have to follow the same template in most cases, where it's an introductory episode. In a lot of cases, it's brand new, it's a little bit more easygoing, introduces the same things. You don't often get a huge villain in series openers. I say that, we've just had Spyfall Part 1 with the flipping return of the flipping master. But there are some epic series openers that we've had. I mean, Rose in its own stands up because it's Rose, it's the first, it was my first. Partners in Crime's an awesome episode, The 11th Hour as well. There was some shockers in there like The Impossible Astronaut, of course, The Magician's Apprentice, which were big and bold like Spyfall Part 1. So yeah, series openers, it's a tough choice to make, but my favourite series opener is gonna still remain to be Deep Breath. Now, I thought Deep Breath for me is my favourite series opener because it just seems to have everything. It's just all round a fantastic episode. It has the usual introducing you to a new character. It was a fantastic and unique post-regenerative story. How it showed the 12th Doctor going through that whole process was awesome. He was so unpredictable in that episode as well. And towards the end, when his character started to come together, I've never known a Doctor's introduction be that dramatic and intense. We still don't know if he pushed the half-faced man. Some awesome moments like that when he left Clara behind. You just were questioning this Doctor like you never had before. And especially at the end when he finally makes his introduction with the suit. The music's awesome in that scene. It's chilling. And we get the call from 11 from Trenzalore as well. It's just an all-round perfect series opener, and Deep Breath will remain to be my favourite episode 1. At episode 2, we have The End of the World, Tooth and Claw, The Shakespeare Code, The Fires of Pompeii, The Beast Below, Day of the Moon, Dinosaurs on a Spaceship, Into the Dalek, The Witch's Familiar, Smile, The Ghost Monument, and Spyfall Part 2. Now again, this was a bit of a tough one. Episode 2s are a little bit strange. None of them stand out to being blockbuster episodes. None of them stand out to being big in scale or anything like that. Episode 2s are normally the companions, the brand new companions' first trip in the TARDIS, in the future, in the past. So it's usually, again, quite easy going, not much to them. But there are some really, really awesome ones in there. I always like the End of the World with all the different aliens and stuff. I think that one's awesome. Tooth and Claw with the werewolf as well is a cool episode. I've always loved the Fires of Pompeii as well. That delved really, really deep into time travel and everything, and was like Donna basically learning about the consequences of time travel and learning it the hard way. She was flung in the deep end. So I love the Fires of Pompeii. It was between that and Spyfall Part 2, the recent episode 2. I honestly thought Spyfall Part 2 was absolutely amazing, and I've always had the Fires of Pompeii as my favourite episode 2. It's never been knocked off its perch until now, because I'm going to replace it with Spyfall Part 2, and the reason for that is because it had what I just said most episode 2s don't have. I don't know if it's because it started with a two-part, a bang, a bit like what Series 6 did, in all fairness. Spyfall Part 2 had Sacha Dhawan's Master, who is absolutely awesome. He's insane, he's amazing. And it just had, how it went through different time periods, the Doctor and the Master, learning about the Timeless Child and everything like that. It was an awesome second part to a series, and it really put Series 12 on the map, and it made you stand up and notice what they were doing with this. So, for me, firstly, I feel great to see a Jodie Whittaker and a Chris Chibnall episode in there, one from Series 12 as well, but that's not the only reason it's in there. It is in there because it is a fantastic and awesome episode. So Spyfall Part 2 is in at episode 2. At episode 3 we have The Unquiet Dead, School Reunion, Gridlock, Planet of the Ood, Victory of the Daleks, The Curse of the Black Spot, A Town Called Mercy, Robot of Sherwood, Under the Lake, Thin Ice, Rosa, and Orphan 55. Now, this was a difficult decision because there are some really, really awesome episodes in there. I think A Town Called Mercy is an awesome episode. Rosa, as well, is a fantastic historical episode. But I found myself jumping between the same two. And that was School Reunion or Gridlock. How do you choose between them two? You've got the Krillitane with Anthony Head as one of the best villains in the modern series. He was awesome. With the return of Sarah Jane K9, or you have Gridlock, which was one of the most emotionally, beautifully played, and the music in that episode was awesome, with the face of Bo dying in the You Are Not Alone. I mean, how do you choose between these two episodes? It is so difficult, but I've went with School Reunion. It's always being between these two, but I'm going to stick with School Reunion because it is just such a feel-good, just a joyous episode to go back and watch from Series 2. I think the whole team in that episode were awesome. The setting of a school always resonates with me, and it always did at that point in my life as a kid, and seeing, the teachers turn into monsters as well. It's one of them stories that just stands out to you if you were the right age for it at the right time, and I certainly was with that. And there's also that bittersweet looking back on it and it being a Sarah Jane sort of episode, which always sort of, means more, I guess. So, for me, School Reunion remains to be my favourite episode 3. Episode 4, and we've got the likes of Aliens of London, The Girl in the Fireplace, Daleks in Manhattan, The Sontaran Stratagem, The Time of Angels, The Doctor's Wife, The Power of Three, Listen, Before the Flood, Knock Knock, Arachnids in the UK, and Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. So this is an interesting part of the series because we're starting to get into two-parters. A couple of episodes like The Aliens of London is the beginning of a two-parter, as is Daleks in Manhattan, The Sontaran Stratagem, Time of Angels. So there's a lot of episodes in this which are the start of a two-parter. You've got Before the Flood as well, which is the end of one. So it's hard to pick one without the other with them sort of episodes. So I'm not going to pick any of them. There are some awesome ones. The Doctor's Wife as well is an awesome episode that always comes close and has been in the best possible series before. Listen is one I always just love. I have a soft spot for Listen, big time. Knock Knock is one that I always seem to forget about, but I loved that when that first come out. But I am going to stick with The Girl in the Fireplace. Yes, it's going to follow School Reunion like it does in Series 2 and be my favourite episode 4. And it is just The Girl in the Fireplace is just it just shows how good Stephen Moffat is and how good he can be with his timey-wimey stories. He can write them like no one else, and when they land and when they work, they are masterpieces, and that's exactly what The Girl in the Fireplace is. I'm never one for romance in Doctor Who when the Doctor's involved. This was one of the few times where it was written so beautifully I could get on board with it, and I thought his story with Madame de Pompadour was brilliant. It was such an interesting and intriguing concept back then as well, and still stands up well today, and the Clockwork Droids had just such a creepiness about them. So yeah, it is one of the standout Stephen Moffat episodes in the modern series, and will be my favourite episode 4. Episode 5 now, and we have World War III, Rise of the Cybermen, Evolution of the Daleks, The Poison Sky, Flesh and Stone, The Rebel Flesh, The Angels Take Manhattan, Time Heist, The Girl Who Died, Oxygen, The Saranga Conundrum, and Fugitive of the Judoon. Now, like the episode 2s, nothing has ever been able to knock The Angels Take Manhattan off its perch of being my favourite episode 5, and again, you're getting the end of two-parters with this now, so it's still difficult to pick one, although when you get into the Stephen Moffat era later on, Time Heist, The Girl Who Died, Oxygen, we're all a bit naff. The Saranga Conundrum we're not even going to talk about. But, like with The Fires of Pompeii, Angels Take Manhattan has been knocked off its perch. And it's been knocked off again by an episode from Series 12. Because my new favourite episode 5 is Fugitive of the Judoon. Yes, it is my favourite episode 5 now. Now, to be fair, the lineup of episode 5s isn't the strongest. So the Angels Take Manhattan was always sort of in a comfortable place. But finally, an episode 5 has came and blown me away. And that was Fugitive of the Judoon. It was just an episode which blew my mind. It blew all of our minds. Had the return of Captain Jack, which in itself is amazing. How they introduced Ruth's Doctor as well was jaw-dropping. And just from start to finish, the episode was just boom, 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 hitting you with one thing, then another, and when you thought it couldn't get better, it did, and things just getting better and better, and it was building and building, and it was just an incredible episode, and Series 12 needed it, but as like a mid-season episode, I thought, yeah, Fugitive of the Judoon did everything right in that regard, and although I look back on the Timeless Child and Ruth's Doctor a little bit differently because of how things played out in the end, I think judging it on its own, in its entirety on its own, it's an awesome episode. So congratulations, Series 12. That's a second episode in the best possible series, and we're only 5 episodes in. Fugitive of the Judoon is my favourite episode 5. Episode 6, and we have Dalek, The Age of Steel, The Lazarus Experiment, The Doctor's Daughter, The Vampires of Venice, The Almost People, The Bells of St. John, The Caretaker, The Woman Who Lived, Extremis, Demons of the Punjab, and Praxius. Now, there's no competition. Simple as that. Many episodes can be knocked off their perch, but there is one that I don't think ever will, and that is Dalek. It's Dalek. What? I shouldn't have to justify myself. To this day, I still can't really put into words how much I love Dalek and how good it is. Everyone, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you'll know. It's probably one of the greatest Dalek stories ever, one of the best episodes ever. The Ninth Doctor versus the Dalek. Money. So yeah, it will forever always be my favourite episode 6, and I don't think anything will ever come near it. Episode 7's, and we have The Long Game, The Idiot's Lantern, 42, Unicorn and the Wasp, Amy's Choice, The Rings of Akhaten, Kill the Moon, The Zygon Invasion, The Pyramid at the End of the World, Kablam, and Can You Hear Me? As you've probably saw there, the lineup of episode 7s aren't that great. The Long Game, you compare it to some episodes we've had since, it's not that bad, but it's in an episode full of absolute gems, so it sort of looks a little bit weak. Idiot's Lantern as well, 42, you know, they're a bit naff. Rings of Akhaten I have a soft spot for, but it's not the greatest episode ever, of course. Kill the Moon as well, another one which, it's average. there's not many. You know, the only real good episodes in there, I think it's got to be between Unicorn and the Wasp, Amy's Choice, A Good Man Goes to War, and Kablam. And I'm going to go with A Good Man Goes to War. I still think that episode is sort of head and shoulders above any of the others. A bit like with Fugitive of the Judoon, it was a fantastic mid-season episode that kept the momentum building. It sort of upped the ante even further than what it already was. I loved how the Doctor was involved in it and how the episode revolved around him, and just when you thought the series had enough twists and turns, they managed to do an even bigger twist and turn at the end of the episode to keep us even more excited. So yeah, A Good Man Goes to War was the bridge between Series 6 Part 1 and 2, and it was vital in keeping the momentum and the arc going at such a great pace it was. So yeah, for me, A Good Man Goes to War remains to be my favourite episode 7. Episode 8 now, and this is where things start to get good. We've got Father's Day, The Impossible Planet, Human Nature, Silence in the Library, The Hungry Earth, let's call it there, Cold War, Mummy on the Orient Express, The Zygon Inversion, The Lie of the Land, The Witchfinders, and The Haunting of Villa Diodati. Now that is what you call a lineup of episodes. There are some incredible episodes in there, and they are the start or the end of some of the best two-parters that I think Russell T Davies ever did. This was the point in the series where he really did bring out his best. Even later on, though, through the rest of the modern series, you've got Mummy on the Orient Express in there, which is an unbelievable episode, The Zygon Inversion, which is a pretty decent conclusion as well, and The Haunting of Villa Diodati is a recent episode I really, really liked. But as awesome as they are, there is a single-part story in there which still stands the test of time for me, and that is Father's Day. Father's Day is one of the great Doctor Who... It's one of them great stories that only Doctor Who can do, you know, where it touches upon time travel, you can't change the past, change the future, whatever, and we saw Rose in that position, and as much as the Doctor called her a stupid ape, and don't touch the baby, you couldn't help but relate to Rose, and I think anyone in that position would have done the same, and to explore that so early in her sort of tenure with the Doctor, it was so interesting to see how she dealt with that and how that sort of affected her and the Doctor as well, and we learned so much about Rose and her family. It was such a great character piece for her, such a great sort of Doctor Who timey-wimey story. It has everything, and it was just a great piece of television. So Father's Day stands the test of time and is my favourite episode 8. Episode 9's now, and again, things get good. We've got The Empty Child, The Satan Pit, The Family of Blood, Forest of the Dead, Cold Blood, Night Terrors, Hyde, Flatline, Sleep No More, Empress of Mars, It Takes You Away, and Ascension of the Cybermen. Now this is where Series 12 comes into the equation again, because we are now in the last 2 episodes of Series 12, and of course in Doctor Who nowadays, where we only get 10 episodes, this is the finale. So Series 12 really does come in hard on some of the episodes that we got in previous series, which were sort of in the middle of nowhere, like Empress of Mars wasn't very good. Among a couple of others, you know, Night Terrors, a bit average. But, you know, there are some brilliant episodes in there. I think all the Russell ones are fantastic. Flatline is awesome as well. And like I said, Ascension of the Cybermen is a very good episode too. But, again, we're going to go all the way back. And we're going to go with The Empty Child. Now, I don't often pick one part of a two-parter in these lists, because half the time I can't pick both because another episode beats the second part or the first part, but I have gone for Flatline a lot in the past, but and Ascension of the Cybermen would have had a good shout, but The Empty Child is just an epic opening to a two-parter. The setting, The Empty Child itself, is just one of the creepiest villains ever. It's an episode that has stood the test of time and is a modern classic without a doubt. It's unbelievable. The setup, the setting of the World War and everything like that it was amazing, and I wish I could put the Doctor Dancers with it, but the episode 10 lineup is just something else. So it's a bit of a sort of odd one, this, putting just one part of a two-parter on its own in number 9, but I am going to stick The Empty Child in there. It's one of the more tougher and the more, I guess, unsure decisions that I've made, but I'm going to put it in there because of how awesome it is. Empty Child is episode 9. Episode 10. Brace yourselves. The Doctor Dances. Love and Monsters. Blink. Midnight. Vincent and the Doctor. The Girl Who Waited. Journey at the Centre of the TARDIS. In the Forest of the Face the Raven. The Mutants of Light. The Battle of Ralph Lauren. And The Timeless Children. So, with episode 10s, you go one way or you go the other. We've got the Battle of Ralph Lauren in there. We've got the Eaters of Light. We've got Journey at the Centre of the TARDIS. Some episode 10s that are just mediocre at best. Love and Monsters, I'm not going to say that. I have such a terrible soft spot for that episode. But then you've got Blink, Midnight, and Vincent and the Doctor. Now, as much as I absolutely adore, well, I wouldn't say adore, as much as I liked The Timeless Children, it still has nothing on Blink, Midnight, Vincent and the Doctor, and Face the Raven. So you've got 4 episodes in this list that I freaking love. Face the Raven's amazing because of how much of an emotional end it was for Clara Oswald, even though it got ruined a couple of weeks later. Vincent and the Doctor is just a gorgeous, beautiful, emotional, historical, probably with the best historical figure we've had in a Doctor Who episode ever, period. Midnight is probably the best episode of Doctor Who that we've had in the modern series that doesn't actually have a physical villain, with obviously that creature that we never saw that just takes over people's voices. The acting in that was unreal. And Blink is probably Moffat's greatest episode outside of his own era, with the dawn of my favourite villain, the Weeping Angels. How the hell do I choose? It took me ages, and I probably would change my mind if you asked me again in about 5 minutes' time, but I'm gonna go with Blink. Now, this was such a tough choice, but I can't turn my back on my favourite villains being the Weeping Angels. I think for a Doctor Light story, you have to respect the script and the actors and the performances. Like with Blink, the addition is that this episode had a villain. Yes, it didn't have Vincent van Gogh, but I just think Blink is a masterpiece of an episode. I don't agree with when people say it's overrated. It really isn't in my eyes. I think it's epic. This was a tough choice, but Blink's going to be my favourite episode 10. And that is it for series 11 and 12. Only 10 episodes in them. So as we move on to episode 11, 12, 13 and the Christmas special, that's it for the Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker era. For now, no episodes from Series 11 in my Best Possible Series, which I am not personally surprised by, but 2 episodes from Series 12, which I think is pretty awesome, so I'm happy with that. But nevertheless, let's move on to Episode 11. So for Episode 11, we have Boomtown, Fear Her, Utopia, Turn Left, The Lodger, The God Complex, The Crimson Horror, Dark Water, Heaven Sent, and World Enough and Time. Again, what a lineup of episodes. I mean, there again is the odd stinker, like Fear Her, like The Crimson Horror, and Dark Water, which doesn't really stand up compared to other sort of series finales. But then you've got Utopia, Turn Left, Heaven Sent, and World Enough and Time. I mean, this is just getting ridiculous, isn't it? Utopia has probably the best master reveal ever, and it's just an unbelievable episode. Turn Left is just, I don't even have the words for how good Turn Left is and what that episode did. Heaven Sent is the best episode I think Stephen Moffat written in his era, with the best performance by a single actor ever with Peter Capaldi. And World Enough in Time was an awesome penultimate episode with the return of John Sims Master and the Mondasian Cybermen. How the hell do you judge this? Well, I'm going to go with Turn Left. Now, Utopia and World Enough in Time are both unbelievable sort of penultimate episodes leading into a finale, leading into things getting even better. So they are sort of on this sort of level. Whereas Turn Left and Heaven Sent have an individual quality, a standalone individual quality about them, which just is that little bit higher. So it was between them, Turn Left, Heaven Sent. And again, depending on the time of day you ask me this, it will change. Because Heaven Sent is absolutely incredible. But I think the tiniest little difference is the payoff to both episodes. Obviously, Heaven Sent led to Hellbent. Turn Left led to The Stolen Earth and Journey's End. So I'm going to go with Turn Left. I thought exploring a universe without the Doctor was so unique and impressive, and I think it's an episode that you probably couldn't do twice. So it's unique in that respect. Favourite companion, Donna Noble, brought back Rose in a great way too, and seeing how it affected Torchwood, Sarah Jane, and all these other awesome events we'd had up to that point was so intriguing. So it just has this unique feeling about it, which no other story can match or get close to, so it's going to be my favourite episode 11. Episode 12, and now we start to get into finales, especially in the Russell era. So we have Bad Wolf, Army of Ghosts, The Sound of Drums, The Stolen Earth, The Pandorica Opens, Closing Time, Nightmare in Silver, Death in Heaven, Hellbent, no, and The Doctor Falls. Now, apart from Hellbent aside, which is an domesticated piece of which never exists and I've completely forgotten about in this video, that's it, no more mention of that. Yeah, some incredible sort of penultimate episodes leading into a finale. Obviously, The Doctor Falls was a finale in Series 10, a very, very awesome finale at that as well, with the 12th Doctor fighting off the Cybermen. How he did that, when, you know, that scene where he's running through the field, fighting them off with his sonic, how he eventually gets shot down, it's brutal, it's heartbreaking, I love that episode. Death in Heaven sort of just falls away as a bit of an average finale, really. Nightmare in Silver, Closing Time are not even relevant. And then you've got to choose between Bad Wolf, Army of Ghosts, Sound of Drums, Stolen Earth, and the Pandorica Opens. They, I think, are the 5 that you have to properly choose from here. And I think Bad Wolf, Army of Ghosts, Sound of Drums, Pandorica Opens are all awesome. But for me, The Stolen Earth is that much better, and that is going to be my favourite episode 12. I thought, for how Russell brought in all these characters from that modern series, that era, was just so well done. You know, how he brought them all in together, how they all met and interacted. It was like a dream. It was like the dream team back then, and it still is today. It's better than Journey's End, how it built things up with the reveal of Davros as well. It just brought so many awesome parts of the modern series to that point full circle, and also left us with an outstanding cliffhanger when the 10th Doctor was shot and looked to be regenerating. It's one of the few episodes that I still now, at the horrid old age of 24, I know, please, I know, give me sympathy. It's one of the few episodes where I still remember where I was, what I was doing, like it was yesterday. It's one of them that just stands out and you have a memory that you just will have forever. That episode is that. So yeah, it's in with a very, very difficult bit of competition, but The Stolen Earth is my favourite episode 12. So we say goodbye to everything Series 8 onwards as well, and when we look at episode 13, we only have Series 1 to 7 to go off. So we have Parting of the Ways, Doomsday, Last of the Time Lords, Journey's End, The Big Bang, The Wedding of a Song, and The Name of the Doctor. Now, again, this is tough. Now, you take The Wedding of River Song out because that is just dreadful. You've got 6 pretty good finales. Now, The Big Bang, I don't enjoy as much because of how timey-wimey it is. I don't feel like I can enjoy that episode as much as the others. Name of the Doctor, I think, with stuff we've had now with other Doctors coming in, it doesn't take the shine off Name of the Doctor. It's still an awesome finale, but I think it's very, very much revolved around that era. It's good for that era of the show with the 50th and John Hurt's War Doctor and stuff. I think the more you move on from that, the less effective it is in terms of how good it is in your mind and your memory. So it really is between series 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now, Journey's End was awesome, but how Donna managed to just flick a few buttons and defeat the Daleks always sort of has a bit of a gripe with me. Last of the Time Lords, again, how they managed to just reverse everything, click that undo button, doesn't sit right with me again. So it's between Parting of the Ways and Doomsday, and I've got to go with Parting of the Ways. As emotional as Rose's departure was with the Daleks and the Cybermen, like I said earlier, the lovey-dovey stuff I'm not a fan of, and the whole Dr. Rose thing on the beach just cringes me still to this day. Whereas with Parting of the Ways, seeing the Ninth Doctor regenerate, one last stand against the Dalek Emperor and his army was absolutely epic. It was the making of Rose Tyler as a companion as well. Parting of the Ways is such a unbelievable ending, and a sad one too, seeing the Ninth Doctor go and regenerate into the 10th. So for me, Parting of the Ways is the best series finale. Now on to the special episode. Now, I've always changed my mind on what the special should be. Sometimes I've only kept it strictly to Christmas specials. Other times I've had to change things up because now we don't really get Christmas specials anymore. We get New Year's specials. So I thought, well, if I'm including Christmas and New Year's specials, what about just other special episodes like the 2009 specials? Or the 50th, for example. So we're gonna just involve all of them. So here are all the specials that we've had in the modern series. Sit back and relax. We've got The Christmas Invasion, The Runaway Bride, Voyage of the Damned, The Next Doctor, Planet of the Dead, The Waters of Mars, The End of Time, A Christmas Carol, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, The Snowmen, The Day of the Doctor, The Time of the Doctor, Last Christmas, The Husbands of River Song, The Return of Dr. Mysterio, Twice Upon a Time, and Resolution. God, that's a lot of specials. So, taking them all into consideration, and I'm not giving you an overview of every single one, I'll be here all day. There's one episode in there that's my favourite. And if you know me well, this is actually quite an easy one. If I didn't involve the 2009 specials, it would be a bit more difficult. I'd probably have gone for the 50th, because it's the 50th. And then after that, you are sort of narrowed down to Christmas and New Year's specials. But I feel like we're celebrating every episode of the modern series, so it's only fair every episode's in there, not one is excluded. So, my favourite special, it's my favourite episode of the modern series. Hell, it's my favourite episode ever. It's The Waters of Mars. And as many specials as there may be, as many Christmas, New Year's, mid-season, whatever flipping specials we get, nothing will touch this one. The Waters of Mars is the best special episode. It's my favourite episode ever. Everything from the villain to the performance to the Doctor to the cliffhanger to the ending to everything. I mean, I could go on and on about why and how I love the Waters of Mars. It is the perfect episode of Doctor Who. That's all I need to say. So that is my favourite special, and that is it. So before we finish, let's summarise my best possible series of 2020. So we have Deep Breath, Spyfall Part 2, School Reunion, The Girl in the Fireplace, Fugitive of the Jadoon, Dalek, A Good Man Goes to War, Father's Day, The Empty Child, Blink, Turn Left, The Stolen Earth, Parting of the Ways, and The Waters of Mars. Now I find it really interesting, and the way I've done this on my spreadsheet, it shows the more green episodes basically, and I've marked them in green, and because it's going from Series 1 and scrolls across to Series 12, I can have an idea in eras and in series as to what are my favourite sort of parts of the show. So Series 1, we had 4 episodes from Series 1, 2 from Series 2, 1 from Series 3, 3 from Series 4 if you count The Waters of Mars, 1 from Series 6, 1 from Series 8, and then 2 from Series 12. So we didn't have a single episode from Series 9, 10 or 11. We didn't have one from Series 7 or Series 5, which is a real surprise to me because I actually quite like Series 5. So yeah, quite interesting that. And that's why I love the Best Possible series, because you just discover cool little patterns and cool things that you never realised. And yeah, as I expect and as I know, Series 1 and Series 4 are pretty special. But to have 2 in Series 12, like I said earlier in the video, is epic. So yeah, that's my Best Possible series, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, do subscribe to this channel for much more cool Doctor Who content to come. Comment below, most importantly, your Best Possible series. What I'll do is I'll stick my cool little spreadsheet in the comments below so you guys can jump on there. I'll make it so you can edit it, and hopefully you guys can, you know, construct your own Best Possible series on there. And yeah, you can also sort of see patterns in your own way of Doctor Who as well. And yeah, I'll be back next time for the Worst Possible series, which is basically this, but the worst episode. So yeah, that's always a fun one. But until next time, thank you guys for watching. See you next time.